Hello, welcome to the Soulful and Wild show. Thank you so much for joining me. I think we're at episode number 18. Yes, we are. And today I'm going to share with you some thoughts on your life cards. And the reason for this is that so often when somebody comes to me and has a reading, they'll ask all the usual questions about their career, their health, finances, individual members of their family. And it's only after those big issues are addressed, usually they come for one major thing and then all that stuff is kind of the filler. But they kind of save this big question to the end. And it's like, what is my life's purpose? That is such a big question. It really and truly is. It's a massive question, one that really requires a session all by itself. But usually they ask that, 2 minutes before the end of the session. So what I thought I'd share with you is how to work out what your life cards are from the Major Arcana, or the greater secrets of the tarot deck. And they are the cards, the big ones with the number at the top and the name at the bottom, and they are numbered 0 through to 21. They represent the initiations that the soul goes through in a particular lifetime. That's the main way that we teach the Major Arcana. When we're teaching that, most of us will actually teach it in that way. But for us to know what our soul is here working on, we just need to know what our own life cards are. And so that's what I want to share with you today. It won't take that long. This won't be a long episode, but valuable, I think, in answering that really big question. And although it won't fill in all the small details, it'll give you a big overarching or a helicopter view of what it is that you're doing here this lifetime, what your focus is. So what we do to work it out is we use numerology, and alchemically we blend it with the tarot cards, the Major Arcana cards. So all you need to do is add your day, month, and year of birth together, and you'll get a double-digit number. So, for example, let's just say that your number is, what are we going to give it? 1964. When you add those up, what you're going to do then is you're going to add the individual numerals together. 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 4, which equals, 20. So what that tells us is that first double-digit number is your personality card. And that's the judgment card, 20. So that tells us how you are going to move through the world on that personality level. It's what you're kind of working with as a personality. What you then do is you add the 2 plus the 0 to get one individual number. 2 plus 0 equals 2, which is the High Priestess card. So that tells us what your soul card is. And that's what your soul is working on, yeah? That's the core, the inner part of you, and what you're really here to do. In a way, the personality card shows us how you're doing it. Now, those two cards are the most important ones for you to know, and they will give you an answer, albeit a helicopter sort of view, that will answer that question about what's it all about, what am I really doing here? As a soul, you are working through this lesson or initiation of the High Priestess. If your number is, your life cards are 20 and then 2. The next piece to that, and it always works like that with the exception of 1. When your date of birth comes down and adds up to number 19, the Sun card, you end up with an extra card, what we would call a hidden teacher card. So our process, our formula is you add day, month, and year of birth, and you'll get a double-digit number. You then add those two numbers together, 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune card, and that is your soul card. Personality card is 19, 1 plus 9 equals 10, so your soul card is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, obviously 10 is a double-digit number, and that's what makes this different. So you add the 1 plus the 0, and that equals 1, and that's the Magician card. That is your hidden teacher card. So whenever those life cards add up to number 19, you know that your person or you or your beloved is going to have 3 life cards: personality, soul, and the hidden teacher. So it's not complicated, right? We're using the principles of numerology, and we're just using date, month, and year of birth to get your personality card and your soul card. Once you know those, learn about them, and you'll be able to see those lessons, because that's what they are. They're initiations. There's lessons involved in working with those things. And fundamentally, we are here going through a refinement process. It's an alchemical process, life. Beginnings, endings, we're constantly changing, right? That's what it's all about. And alchemy, change, is magic. People get all wound up about what magic is. I think magic is simple. We're just taking one thing, coarse, refining it and making it finer, something different, totally different. That's what magic is. And we're working with it here. So you know what they say, as above, so below. As above in the heavens, so below, that is me. Okay, now, so we've talked about the personality card, the soul card, and the hidden teacher card. The other card that we can look at, which is going to travel with you your whole lifetime, is your astrological card. So if you don't know the Zodiac, but obviously you do know your date of birth, you can go onto my website, www.soulfulandwild.com. Up the top, click on the, there's, little tags and banners and things. Click on the resources hub. In there, this podcast actually is there, but there's something called Reflections, and that's my blog. If you go in there, you'll be able to just, in the little search thing, you can write astrological cards, and there's a blog post there that will give you a list of them. So you just got to know your date of birth. If you don't know your zodiac sign, it'll be there. So I'll give you an example. Very simple example. So somebody who is a Scorpio, for example. Ooh, don't mind me dropping the cards, dropping the deck. So a Scorpio, someone who has a zodiac sign, astrology sign of the zodiac, death is their zodiac card, their astrological life card. Zodiac, astrology, same thing, right? So the energy of death is what they're working with. That's at their third, or in the case of our person whose date of birth adds up to 19 initially, most people will have 3 with their zodiac sign. Those unusual people have 4. So for Scorpio, what are you working with this lifetime? You are working with endings, like lots and lots of endings. So basically you're learning to release and let go and surrender. And when you look at the death card, especially this lovely big one, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 people. We've got the king, which represents the ego, and he's been slain by death. So he's like, his ego cannot survive change. The Pope or the priest is bowing down to death. submissive to change. The young maiden here, she's looking away. Oh no, I can't handle it, right? And it's only the child who is welcoming death or change with a bunch of flowers. So when you look at the imagery on the Death Tarot card, it shows you, Scorpio, exactly how to do this lesson and do it with greater ease. But of course, knowing and doing, that's where the learning is. That's where the refinement comes. We've all got an ego. We've all got that part of us that wants to follow the rules and be part of the grouping, as shown by our priesty person here in the card. We've all got that part of us that doesn't want to look at the ugly stuff or only wants life to be beautiful, like the young maiden. But it's the innocent part of us, the part of us that trusts and knows that we'll be completely okay, who's able to deal with change and flow with it. And one of the things with Scorpios is life will keep bringing change around until they learn to do that change with a greater level of grace and are able to just flow with it. So that is a life lesson for the Scorpio. So we can see how the tarot cards will actually show you how to do it, all right? How to learn the lesson and begin to flow with it in a way that's positive and is empowering for you. Now, likewise for our Leos, I'm just giving you a few examples, all right? Likewise with our Leos, this is a strength card, and this is the astrological card, life card for our Leo people. And you can see in this image, if you're looking at the video, if you're just listening to this, get your cards out and have a look. The strength card is the Major Arcana card number 8, and it shows a wild lion, a big beast of the jungle, the king of the jungle, in fact, and a beautiful maiden, blonde maiden with a garland of flowers around her hair. And she's wearing a white virginal gown, right? So we can see that she's an innocent, she's gentle, she's feminine and soft. That's the indication here. And our king of the jungle, the wild lion, what's happening is she has her hand at his mouth and the other hand is over his head. So in essence, we know that Leos are said to have big egos, to have big personality, and that part of their lesson this lifetime is to bring themselves into a level of balance so that they can self-regulate with greater ease, to use their personal power, the force of their personality in a way that works. Yeah? There's lots of issues around power for Leos. And what we're seeing here with the strength card is these two ends of the spectrum. You know, at the one end we've got the wild beast and at the other we've got the gentle maiden. And really in this lifetime, we're being shown it through the imagery in the strength card that the lesson is for the wild beast to be tamed by the gentle aspect within the Leo person, within the Leo astrology sign, yeah? Now, how do we do that? That's the lesson. That's the journey this lifetime, is to work through your life with that being the goal, to bring those two different aspects of the self together so that they can be blended and therefore you are in a state of balance. Beautiful. Beautiful imagery. And I mean, of course, for every single one of us, we are all working on these kinds of lessons, and this lesson even in particular, but for our Leo people, this is the focus, yeah? I'll give you another Zodiac example, if I may, and this is the Star card. Now, the Star is for the Aquarians who are listening, and you may know an Aquarian, even if you're not one. So you can see here in the card, this person is naked. In the imagery, if you're looking at this card, you can see that the woman has no clothes on, so she is vulnerable. Anybody who's naked is vulnerable. There's no covering. Nothing is hidden. And she has the two jugs. She's pouring water, the water of life, on the earth and also into the waters. So she is the balancing agent between earth and water. We've got all these stars here. Now, what the core lesson here is one of healing. It's about emotional healing for our Aquarian. They're very gentle people. They are all about being healers. Often our Aquarian people are humanitarians. It doesn't mean they're all sorted out. It's just that this is, a tendency that they go towards. And whenever this, when you're born under this sign, a big part of your life lesson is about working with groups. And many Aquarians, from my experience, they're often very psychic, and they have a sensitivity to people and a great love of people usually. And so they are attuned. They read the signs. They can feel the emotion in people. So they're all about healing and working with groups, basically, and doing their own healing. And part of the lesson for our Aquarians is that they have the light shine on them. They tend to be, generally speaking, happiest to be in the background, but their lesson or their initiation this lifetime is to take the healing that they need and basically step up onto the stage and receive the light and hold a position of being the leading lady or the leading man in the story of their life, because they usually have group work to do and they've been born under the star and need to take a role of leadership or leadership in some way. So that's kind of the initiation that our star people, our Aquarians, are working with. Now, I hope that gives you a bit of an idea. So I'll just recap. It's not complicated. It's just math. So you're going to add your day, month, and year of birth. You will get a double-digit number. And that double-digit number is going to tell you what your personality card is for this lifetime. You add those two numbers together, that represents your soul card. And that is your other significant life card. Your third significant life card is determined by your zodiac sign, and I've given you a couple of examples of that. And we've got one exception to the rule, which is when your date of birth adds up to number 19, which is the sun, and then you'll have 3 life cards rather than 2, because 19 is your personality card. 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune card. That's your soul card. And then because that's still a double-digit number, we add the 1 plus 0, which gives us 1 for the Magician card, and that is your hidden teacher card. Now, there is one other tricky thing. And the tricky thing is we only have 22 Major Arcana cards. So if you have a number, if that first number is more than 22, for example, it's 23, then the system doesn't work. So you need to add 2 plus 3 together, which brings you immediately to a single-digit number. So what that means is that your personality and your soul card are the same. And in this case, it's number 5, the Hierophant. So if you had, for example, I'm not good at math, I've got to tell you the truth, so this is always a trick for me. So if, for example, your birthday was the 31st of January 1964, just as an example, then then that would 31 plus 1 plus 1964 equals 1996. So we add 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 6, which equals 10, 19, 25. That's greater than number 22, right? So that means we have to add the 2 plus the 5, which equals 7, and that is our Chariot card. And that is our personality card and our soul card. All right, so whenever it's a number over 22, I'm going to put this in a blog post so you can double check it. Okay, you can read through it if this is a little confusing. But once you've done it a couple of times, do a few friends, do your family members, and you'll get to see that it's not hard to do. It's just a few little tweaks to it. So when you've got your double-digit personality and soul card, what that means, if it's the same card, you've got the same card for personality and soul and your Zodiac card, and you've only got 2 life cards to work with. When your personality and soul card are the same, it means that you are very focused this lifetime about your initiations, what you're working with, super focused. So your life cards are a great tool. They are so helpful to know because it will give you a really good sense about what your soul is here to do, individually, personally for you. All right. These are the lessons that you're working with as a soul, and you are moving through the challenges that these cards represent. Okay. I hope that is helpful. And if you find it in any way confusing, you can just go to the website, go to the reflections page and do a search for either the life cards or the astrological life cards, and you'll find it explained in a black and white. You'll be able to see some sums, and I think that'll help you if you've got any queries. All right, have a wonderful day, and I do hope you've enjoyed this explanation, and you can see the value in applying the tarot's version of what it's all about. All right, take care, and thanks for joining me.